In this forecast, a major pattern change will lead to a snowstorm across the northern portions of the United States, as well as significantly colder temperatures for much of the week, and even the possibility of severe weather across the southern United States towards the beginning and end of the week. Everything you need to know here on Gladiator WX. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Gladiator WX weekly overlook. Today, I'll be covering the weather for the week of November 23rd through the 30th. This does include the Thanksgiving Day, so make sure you're paying attention to those dates up in the corners here on all of our model runs, because I will not be specifically pointing out the Thanksgiving travel days or the day of Thanksgiving, so make sure you are paying attention to the dates I am saying and in the corner here for visual aid. We're going to start off with our 500 millibar or our jet stream and how that's going to affect our risk for weather across the United States this week. Starting off with what's currently expected for today. As of today, I already made a video about this, so if you want, you could go and check that out. We are expected to see the risk for severe thunderstorms across Texas, into maybe portions of Oklahoma, but mostly just across western Texas, associated with this trough and low pressure system that is moving into the United States. We also have this area of broad mid-level flow across the northwest here, or sorry, the northeast, the New England states, which is leading to a little bit of heavy snowfall across that region. And then moving into Monday, we are expected to see the risk for severe thunderstorms across more so eastern Texas into the Arklatex region, southwestern Oklahoma, eastern Texas, or sorry, southeastern Oklahoma, northern Louisiana, and southern Arkansas there. That risk for severe thunderstorms is also going to continue into the 25th for the southeast here for Mississippi and Alabama, maybe even into portions of Tennessee there, with more of a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms on the 25th. However, on the 24th, and the 25th, we are expected to see a little bit of a trough that's going to move into the northwest here. This is going to be the producer for our snowstorm that we're going to be seeing across the northern United States for today. We could see the possibility of more of a wintry mix develop into the 24th and the 25th across the northern Rockies here, maybe even into some lower elevated portions of Washington, Idaho, and Montana. Probably not really going to be getting down into Wyoming that much, but some snowfall might be possible. Then this system could either dip further down to the south or ride further off to the north. But either way, we are going to be seeing a little bit more of a surface low develop further off to the north here, and we're going to see a lot of our snow ride on the back end of that surface low there across the northern United States, which is in turn going to be riding on this little shortwave here. And then that area of mid-level flow further down to the southeast here isn't really going to provide much of a risk for severe thunderstorms following the risk for severe thunderstorms on the 25th. We're probably just going to see mostly just the risk for some rainfall extending back into Tennessee, Kentucky, Midwestern states, and the Ohio River Valley, maybe even into the mid-Atlantic. But then into the 26th, that trough is going to continue eastward across the northern United States, bringing some snowfall before strengthening across the eastern United States, bringing mostly just some colder temperatures. Probably not going to be too much of a risk for severe weather or rainfall with this system. Although we could see some rainfall just ahead of our snowfall back into the New England states. Later on in the week, but mostly we're just going to be seeing some snowfall more so into Michigan, Wisconsin, and those northern states there before moving into the New England states. And then into the 28th, we are going to see a little bit of two different systems that is going to enter the United States on the 28th. We're going to see this weaker jet out of the Pacific here that could potentially lead to a risk for severe thunderstorms across the southern Rockies or into the southern central plains there into Texas. But we might not see much come out of this. Again, this is really far ahead, so there is quite a bit of uncertainty. We might see a risk of severe thunderstorms come out of this. Not entirely sure. But then we are also going to see this trough move out of the Pacific here, leading to another wintry mix across the northwest there, with some snowfall and some rainfall before moving into the 29th and the 30th, where we could see some snowfall move more so into the central plains and the Rockies here. But we are going to see the potential for severe thunderstorms develop into the 29th and into the 30th, as we are going to be seeing a trough get ready to gear up across the western United States and move eastward into the central United States and into the Midwest. Right now, there is quite a lot of uncertainty with this system. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be a jet moving out of the northwest here, or if it's going to be a nice high amplitude trough that is going to move out of the Pacific onto the western coastline. Again, there's quite a lot of uncertainty when it comes to this system, but we could see the possibility of severe thunderstorms anywhere across the southern United States. Mostly just watching, I'd say, probably this region for the potential of severe thunderstorms later on in the week into next week across the United States. Taking a look at our simulated weather radar for our timing for our various storm systems and when we are expected to see them. As of today, we are again expecting that risk for severe thunderstorms across western Texas, but we could also see some heavier snowfall across the New England states mixed with some rain, and then also more of a wintry mix with some cold rain and maybe even some snowfall into the northwest there. And then as we move into Monday, we're going to see that risk for severe thunderstorms more so move into the Arklatex region across eastern Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas, with a little bit of rainfall, more so spread out across the Midwest into the Ohio River Valley states, across Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri, Mississippi, places like that. And then also that winter storm, as I was talking about earlier, moving into more so North Dakota and Montana, where we could see some heavy snowfall in some lower elevated portions of the United States. And then as we move into Tuesday, we could see some more heavy rainfall across the southwest here, but also the risk for severe thunderstorms across the southwest associated with that system, with some continuing rainfall moving eastward across a lot of the Ohio River Valley, maybe back in the Midwest as well. And then that system for snowfall is going to move more so into North Dakota and move into Minnesota by the 26th and the 25th. And more so into the 26th and the 27th, we are going to see that system more so move across in the northern states here, the Great Lakes states, into Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, as well as Michigan as well, where we could see this system trigger some lake effect snowfall across a lot of the region, and then that rainfall further off to the south could extend across the eastern United States, the eastern seaboard, mostly extending across the Appalachians into the eastern seaboard regions. And then also the risk for some more of a wintry mix arriving into the northwest here. Maybe some heavy rainfall, maybe some snowfall in some portions of the northwest there by the 26th and into the 27th. And then as we move into the 28th, we're going to see the possibility of that snowfall. That's going to be associated with that system in the northwest, moving into more so of the central plains, and then also the potential for some snowfall across the New England states as that system continues to progress eastward. But we're going to see mostly just some cold air associated with that trough that we saw on our models. That really strong broad trough shouldn't really support that much of a risk for severe thunderstorms. Mostly just the risk for snowfall in some regions, but also some colder air as a ridge is going to develop ahead of that system across this region, bringing with it some clear skies, but also some colder temperatures. And then into the 29th and 30th, as that trough begins to gear up out of the west, we could see some continued rainfall in some places like the Central Plains. Could see some continued snowfall in some places like more so into the Midwest and Central Plains. But also we have to watch for the possibility of severe thunderstorms across Texas or potentially elsewhere across the southwestern United States. Again, there's a lot of uncertainty this late in the week. But that trough could lead to the potential for some severe thunderstorms late this week, but also into next week as well. Taking a look at our temperatures and how those are going to progress throughout the week. For today and into tomorrow, it is going to remain quite warm across Texas, as it will need to be for our risk for severe thunderstorms, as well as some really warm temperatures across great portion of the southwest. Could see a little bit colder temperatures across more elevated portions of the Rockies, more northwestern regions, but also the New England states. But the main changes when it comes to temperatures is going to be this cold blast that's going to be coming out of the northwest here, you can already see it beginning into the 25th, and that system will continue to progress into the 26th, bringing with it much, much colder temperatures across a lot of the Midwest, a lot of the central plains, and even into the eastern United States, bringing, again, significantly colder temperatures, and this will progress into even Texas, down into Texas, even wiping out a lot of those very, very warm temperatures that we're going to see for the first half of the week, and that we saw a lot last week. Again, much, much colder temperatures across a great portion of the United States, with some coastal regions potentially remaining a lot warmer, as that cold front will have a much harder time progressing all the way south, mostly across the Gulf Coast states, right along the Gulf Coast cities. Could see some lingering warmer temperatures, but it should definitely be cooled down substantially, especially during the day. We could see some warmer temperatures across some greater portions of the Gulf Coast states in the southeast here. The Central Plains will have a harder time seeing some of those colder temperatures, but it does look like it will cool down, but it will remain also quite warm. Again, further down to the south, in the southwest, it will remain warmer, as the cold front will have a harder time pushing out a lot of those temperatures. We will have quite a lot of force behind this cold blast as well, so it could get quite windy, could drop the wind chill quite a bit. But it's definitely not going to be the most forceful cold blast ever, so some of those warmer temperatures might remain further down to the south. And then as we approach the end of the week, we will see a little bit of atmospheric recovery across a great portion of the either the central plains or somewhere in the southern United States, as we will gear up for the potential of severe thunderstorms towards the end of the week and into next week. Taking a look at our instability, this is the fuel for our severe thunderstorms, and where there's instability, typically there's the potential for severe thunderstorms if everything lines up. However, most unstable cape or instability is not the only ingredient that goes to supporting severe thunderstorms. While we do need instability to support severe thunderstorms, we also need other factors to support severe thunderstorms. But by looking at this model, this parameter, we can see where the fuel for severe thunderstorms is going to be throughout the week, and where there might be the potential for severe thunderstorms. Again, the greatest risk for severe thunderstorms is going to be towards the beginning of the week into Monday and Tuesday, as well as today, where we're going to see quite a lot of instability progress across a great portion of the southern United States. Again, supporting that risk for severe thunderstorms from Monday, Tuesday, and even into Wednesday as well across that region. And then for the rest of the week, we're not really going to be seeing the risk for severe thunderstorms really much at all whenever it gets past Wednesday. We could see the possibility of maybe an isolated risk for severe thunderstorms, and maybe some just some thunderous storms in general, without that much of a risk for severe thunderstorms across some portions of the eastern seaboard, the southern eastern seaboard, maybe even down into northern Florida there. But generally, we won't really see all that much of a risk for severe thunderstorms across the United States following Wednesday. But then, as it gets into the 30th and the 29th, and then into early next week, we could see a little bit of instability develop across some portions of the southern United States. Again, I'm circling a very broad area here across the southern United States, because there's a lot of uncertainty on whether or not this will even really develop. It does seem like a lot of models are trending towards a system existing across the United States into early next week and late this week, supporting maybe the potential of some severe thunderstorms somewhere across the southern United States and into the central United States towards the end of the week, and then into early next week. So anywhere we could see the possibility of instability recovering across some portion of the United States, and maybe supporting the risk of severe thunderstorms somewhere across the United States into late this week and early next week. Finally, taking a look at our snow depth and how that's going to indicate our risk for heavy snowfall this week. Let's start off with the beginning of the week. Currently, we do have some lingering snow across the New England states, and that is going to also be associated with some snowfall that is going to be expected across the New England states within the next 24 to 48 hours. We also do have some snowfall blanketing a lot of the Rockies there, so we could see the potential for some snowfall lingering across the Rockies However, that main risk for heavy snowfall across the northern United States, we are going to see quite a bit of heavy snowfall across that region, with snowfall totals, at least on the European model, at the 06Z run, seeing snowfall potentially upwards of 4 inches to maybe even 5 inches in some regions across North Dakota, with snowfall mostly being limited more so back to the north on this European model. But I doubt that's really going to be the case. We could see the potential for snowfall across a great portion of the northern states here, with snowfall potentially being a little bit less across um, Montana here, with snowfall more so back into 2 to 3 inches of snowfall across Montana. But the greatest amount of snowfall is probably going to be later on in the week, as that system progresses towards the Great Lakes, with snowfall potentially even approaching 7 to 8 inches into Minnesota and maybe even portions of Wisconsin there. And then as the week progresses, we are going to see some snowfall, some lake effect snow associated with that storm. That's going to blanket a great portion of Michigan, and then also the New England states, and then that potential for snowfall across the Central Plains and back across areas that we've already seen snowfall, back towards the end of the week and into early next week, with some snowfall totals potentially reaching 1 to maybe even 2 inches across some portions of the Central Plains that didn't get snow in the first portions of the week. But we are going to see continued snowfall for portions of the United States that did get snow in the earlier portions of the week, which is only going to add to those snowfall totals for regions of the northern United States like North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana there. Now that I've told you the weather, please go down to the description and check out the socials for Gladiator WX, and join the Discord for any updates on Gladiator WX. And hopefully, I'll be able to see you guys next week with another weekly overlook.